BC takes on Cincinnati, 3 o'clock Eastern kickoff in the Birmingham Bowl. The Bearcats of Cincinnati are the 7.5-point favorite, total at 54 and a hook. We saw a 1-point move toward Cincinnati and movement downward on the total. The Bearcats opened 6.5 up to minus 7.5. Total opened 55 down to 54 and a hook. 64% are leaning Cincinnati, 51% shaded toward the under. Right now, Boston College is plus 245 on the money line. They also finished the season 3-5 in their last 8 games. They have outright losses to Florida State and Kansas. They rank 107th in the country in passing, 98th in offensive time of possession. They also struggled away from home this year, just 3-4 straight up away from the friendly confines. They're 95th in points allowed, 127th in pass yards allowed. So collectively on both sides of the ball, this BC squad struggled in many different spots. Now Cincinnati on the other side, really good football team. They finished the year 8-2 in their last 8, and of course those 2 losses came at the hands of Memphis in back-to-back weeks, and they were in position to win both of those games several different times. Once again, just those 2 losses on the season coming to Memphis in back-to-back weeks. Cincinnati, pretty good away from home, and I don't want to say their only 2 losses. I meant their only 2 losses in their final 10. So anyway, they finished 5-3 straight up away from home this year, 5-3 against the spread in those 8 games. They have outright victories against the likes of Temple, Houston, and UCF. That was a big win against Central Florida. They rank in the top 35 in rush yards per game, top 40 in offensive time of possession. Michael Warren, he's rushed for over 1,100 yards on the year, 14 touchdowns, 2 touchdowns receiving as well. Meanwhile, Cincinnati, very good on the defensive side as well. They rank in the top 30 in points allowed, top 35 in yards allowed per play. Javon Hicks, 5 interceptions on the year, 2 forced fumbles, 4 fumble recoveries. Just an absolute turnover machine is Javon Hicks. Brian Wright, he also plays for Cincinnati, and he's got a lot of tackles. 96 tackles on the year, 3.5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles. And Derek Forrest, he's leading this Bearcat defense in tackles with 104 of them. He's also got 3 interceptions as well. One more guy to add here, Ahmad Gardner, 3 interceptions on the year for Cincinnati. This Bearcat defense has held their opponents to 24 points or less in 7 out of their last 10 games. Now Cincinnati, a lot of unders with this Bearcat team. 10-3 to the under on the year, 5-0 to the under in their last 5. Meanwhile, Boston College, 2 out of their last couple of games stayed under the total. They're also 60% to the under as the official road team. So with all that said and done, I'm going to purchase the 0.5 point, slide it down, and lean Cincinnati -7 in the under 54.5 points in that game. And of course, I'm going to slide in my next and final matchup for the show. Thank goodness, because I'm having a terrible read right now. Anyway, next and final matchup for the show, it is going to be Indiana taking on Tennessee, 7 o'clock Eastern kickoff in that game. The Volunteers are the 2.5 point favorite, total at 54 and a hook. We saw a 0.5 point move toward Tennessee and movement upward on the total. The Vols open -2 up to -2.5. Total open 53 up to 54 and a hook. 52% are leaning Indiana. 71% shaded toward the over. And right now the Hoosiers are plus 120 on the money line. The Hoosiers are also 8-4 straight up on the year, 7-5 against the spread. They have successful point spread covers over the likes of Penn State and Michigan State. They rank in the top 15 in passing, top 5 in offensive time of possession. Whop Philyor, he's got over 1,000 yards receiving on the year, 5 touchdown catches. Peyton Hendershot, 555 yards receiving, 4 touchdowns. I can't speak. You know, I just did 2 uploads, literally like 30 minutes ago as well. Went perfectly fine. I got mush mouth right now. Anyway, one more guy to add here. Nick Westbrook. He's got over 500 yards receiving for Indiana, 5 touchdown receptions. This Hoosier squad ranks in the top 5 in passing on the road, top 3 in road offensive time of possession. Now, Tennessee on the other side, they strung together a solid core of wins this year, but statistically, not all that great, not all that impressive. They finished 98th in scoring, 88th in rushing, 84th in defensive time of possession. They have outright losses to Georgia State and BYU. That was at the beginning of the year. Big letdown games for them, and those were big letdown spots, and I think this game could potentially be a letdown spot for them. Now, total-wise, Tennessee 80% of the under in their last 10. A lot of unders for this Tennessee squad. Meanwhile, 2 out of Indiana's last 4 stayed under the number as well. I'm going to go ahead and lean toward the Hoosiers in this matchup here. Give me Indiana plus 3 after buying the half a point, and the under 54.5 in that game. Of course, I'm going to slide my quick pick recap, once again brought to you by patreon.com/BrockPage, where we do daily premium sports picks on that website, beginning at just $1.99 per month. I like Indiana plus 3, under 54.5, and last but certainly not least, I like Cincinnati minus 7, and the under 54.5 in that game.